It was definitely, even
Publish it if it's on the canal so far, if it's the canal under this truck. You get an edge to it, yeah.
okay, are we ready?
Yes, you can begin.
Okay, welcome everybody. Are we online?
Yeah, you got Carol and Dave.
Oh, Carol, you're back. Welcome back.
Thank you.
And happy New Year to everybody. It's our first meeting of the new year, although it seems a long time since we were here now, but hope everybody had a good break. So do we have any apologies for absence?
Yeah, Alison Davis and Estelle. So everyone else is here, other than that.
Okay, item 2, declarations of interest. Does any member have any declarations of interest of any items on the agenda? Thank you. Item 3, public participation. Do we have anybody?
No.
No, nobody on. But if they were here, then they would have the opportunity to speak.
We are, of course, broadcasting as well, so there could be people watching.
Yes,
No,
yeah. Okay, item 4.1. Previous minutes of the finance committee meeting, and that was the one held on the 19th of November 2025. And they are item. That was appendix B. Bear with me. I'll just go through them just page by page for accuracy, if anybody's got anything they want to raise. So page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, and page 5. Everybody happy with those minutes?
Yeah, happy to propose we accept them.
Thank you, Phil. Second at the back. Thank you, Phil. All those in favour?
Hands up.
Hands up.
The matters arising from the minutes.
I believe that everything went to full council and was either approved or at least discussed. As you know, the festive period, closure period wasn't approved by council, what the committee did recommend, so.
No other matters arising.
No, just the scrutiny of payments. The order may have got a bit confused about who did which scrutiny. But look, having a look at this, it looks like it should be you, Phil, for December, so in January. So if you want to come in today, tomorrow, Friday, we can do that before full council next week.
Can you say that slower so that I can hear it? It's my fault, I do apologise. I didn't put me thing in the
Of course. You are down next to do scrutiny of payments for December.
Yeah.
Morag was November. I actually thought Morag was December, not November. You're December, which means you need to come into the office sometime tomorrow or Friday or Monday.
So I'm the late culprit, am I?
That's my fault. You're late. Then you can do scrutiny for December, and then Estelle will do it in February.
I'll come in tomorrow.
We've reassumed.
Have you got a meeting with the staff tomorrow morning?
No, but I've got a different meeting instead. So tomorrow actually is very not good for me at all. But Friday's better.
Friday, yeah. Okay.
Oh no, actually no. Friday no.
Oh.
I've got time on transformation.
Oh, Saturday. Can you work from the office on
Definitely
Saturday?
not. We'll do it Monday.
Sorry?
Is Monday okay?
Whatever, yeah. As long as, do me a favour, give me a ring some Friday to remind me about Monday.
I will indeed.
Okay, everybody happy with that? financial matters, we'll move on to those, so. Item 1 will be the council accounts.
Chair, I have to apologise. In my filling this agenda out, I seem to have not put in the paper I usually do, which is income and expenditure report for the month. So,
Went through
I
this,
do
but
apologise.
I didn't notice it wasn't in there.
Neither did I until I looked at it before.
Right.
But of course, it will go to council next week.
Yeah,
And the committees have had theirs. It's just you haven't had it.
In the absence of that report, is there anything particular that you need us to know at this point?
No, the only thing I would let you know is that we've received our next instalment of the precept, the third instalment of the precept. As you can see from the bank and cash totals graph, you can see that that's been received, and we're currently showing just under 300,000 in our accounts combined. In terms of spending, not December was a smaller month for spending because of the reduced time that we were in the office. The big amount would be staff salaries. Of course, in January, then when we came back, I did the bigger payments, which was the arguable payment for the end of season works. That was a really big thing I've done this month. But trying to stretch that cash as much as possible, because the next preset won't be till the end of April.
but it is pleasing to see in the bar chart that you give us that we have got more this year than we had in previous years.
Yes, I'm particularly concerned about 23-24, but that's in the past and nothing to worry about now.
And we've had the P30 as well.
Yeah, P30 is item 5.2.
So we'll move to item 5.2. So are we happy the accounts will go to full council next week? We don't need to propose that.
No, they will anyway. It's just that you won't have your same level of scrutiny. I can email them round to you. It's the same report you usually get. I do apologise it wasn't included. You will note though from the agenda, you can see that petty cash has dropped to £31.
Can I just, I do apologise, but can I just say to you, so sound Clark, in Alford, our Wi-Fi signal is gone.
Oh.
Right? For the last 3 weeks, there's messages, emails I've missed, and then they turn up 3 days later and fluttering all over the screen, all this. And I thought it was my equipment, but it isn't. It's all that side of Alford. So if you can bear that in mind, if there's anything that important to send to me, give me a phone call as well.
I will.
That I've got it.
That's fine.
I do appreciate it.
No, of course.
Sorry, sir.
No, just to look at the bank balances, that's what you'd be looking at anyway. So it was 20,000 general fund, 275,000 in the 30-day account, which was the big bulk of the precept. Petty cash has dropped down to £31, trying to whittle it down as best as possible. And the hub account has been bolstered by its £1,000 donations in December. So I'm looking at £3,204 now.
Okay, moving on then to 5.2, which is the payment of invoices, which is Appendix E. Can I just ask a question on JRB Enterprises on the second page?
Yeah.
Dog waste bags, there's 2 invoices, same date, same reference number.
Yeah, it must just be, as in we won't pay them twice, but because it's the same reference number, we pay by reference number. I don't know why that's happened because it is under JRB, not JRB. Well, here's one for you. There's 2 JRBs on Realtus, so it depends which one we pick. Clearly, one of the invoices was done on the wrong one.
Right.
So that's fine. Yeah, we won't pay it twice, don't worry. So only shows in the system.
Thank you. The other question for me,
Hangover from a previous one, because I think we had that once before,
maybe,
saying, yeah.
there was just one query for me, really. It says on the Lloyds Bank credit card, on the 29th of the 12th, credit card December duplicate removed. I didn't quite understand the duplicate removed.
Oh, this was right. So when I used to get the credit card statement on the 1st of the month, and in particular in December, I had entered the credit card when I got the bank statement through, and then in the Christmas festivities, I re-entered the invoice for the bank.
Right.
For the credit card, so it was my error for duplicate. So I had to remove the one because it was entered twice. So yeah. But of course, for audit purposes, you see all the errors in their fine form. So on this list. I won't point out my other.
Please pitch in if anybody's got any more as we go through. And 20th of the 11th, parking penalty charge.
Yeah, so unfortunately, we did receive a parking penalty charge because we'd parked longer than we should have in the short stay car park behind.
Was that one of our members of
It
staff?
was, yes. Our van, yes.
I thought we had a permit.
No, so we have the same rules as Powers vans, and we just had this reiterated recently, that we have the same rules as the Powers Council employees who were working at the time, which is great. And thank you for Powers for doing that. However, they're still subject to the same short stay conditions.
Oh,
It's just
right.
that we stayed longer than 2 hours and we shouldn't have done. But the reason we did was one of our contractors needed to use our parking space outside the town hall, so we moved the van and then got a ticket because we didn't move it back in time with the contractor still in place. So I paid it within the 14-day period and got a reduced. I did try to challenge it, but didn't get very fun.
Which town clerk, that town council did you put it down to?
This wasn't a councillor, it was our works.
I thought you might have done.
No, it was our works van.
And the other one for me was only to say, I noticed that we've had it, we've now had the standard idle election invoice.
Yeah. On the 23rd of December, very kind of them to send a £1,800 bill after 4 or 5 months after the election.
It's still surprisingly expensive despite our.
But despite no podcast.
Yeah. That was it for me. Anybody else have any other queries? No,
Sorry,
I said that was all the queries I have. Anybody else have any queries?
Well, there's a mistyping of the word electric at one point, but that's the only thing I noticed.
Are there any,
Okay. No, I don't do the entry anymore, so I can't take credit for that mistake. But,
are there any invoices that come in since we had the papers?
yes, we have had the town hall's water bill at £1,300. We also had. The water bill.
I know we've had the water bill for the other places.
Basically, we usually get them in one go, but they've been dripping.
Seven Trents.
Dripping in these ones. Yeah,
As they would.
as they do. So as you can see, we received the big bulk one, which I nearly fell out of my chair when I got for 5,277. That's for the TIC toilets. However, that relates to the fact we had a leak between July and October when it was repaired. So unfortunately, that is what it is. We've received the change of rules one allotment. Yeah, so the only one missing out of that is the town hall one, and I'm pretty sure the rest of it are very low items. That's the big one.
Bill?
Thanks, Maureen. This is just a general query, and I don't know whether it's something that we can do, but I'm presuming that the water supply to the town hall is Severn Trent as opposed to Welsh water. Well,
Seven Trents.
Welsh water, I think, is subsidised. I don't know about Severn Trent, but given that the water supply for Welshpool comes from an aquifer or something via a borehole a few miles down the road, why can't we transfer to Welsh water instead of Severn Trent? Because I'm sure it would be cheaper.
Actually, you probably find it'd be more expensive.
Really?
Welsh Water is one of the highest water company for charges in the UK.
Even though it's subsidised?
Even though it's not subsidised, it's a not-for-profit.
Right.
So their shareholders don't take a profit. However, their CEO does take a ridiculously large bonus, but that's not for me to judge. We're just not able to change. When the Water Act was passed in 1991, it split up the areas from the old nationalised system into the privatised system. We do fall under the Severn Trent water area. We're not able to switch for it until February, and of which, of course, then became.
Chair, there's something drastically wrong here, because we are running toilets, and we shouldn't be. The county council are responsible for them. Now, they transfer the toilets over to us, okay, no problem, together with a grant every year towards the running of them. After 3 years, they cancelled those grants and said no more. So why can't we pass that bill for water rates on to the county council instead? Otherwise, we might as well lock the door to those toilets. The county council,
Very nice.
and I can tell you this, Chair. Myself and Graham Breeze at the time were with the county council people when we planned to put a bus station down in the car park. And we raised the fact about toilets, so you're gonna have toilets, a bus station usually has toilets. And they said, well, they were thinking about it, but they hadn't decided yet because there's the ones over the other side. And we said, you know, hang on, you might not be able to rely on them for years and years and years. What's going on with it? Anyway, they said they would put toilets in that bus station, nothing up here, right? But at the end of the day, we are doing something that is the function of the county council. And they'd soon tell us if they were doing something of ours. I do think there's mileage there in having conversations.
Can I comment?
Yes.
So when the council in 2013 took responsibility for the Berry Street toilets and the ones behind the Tourist Information Centre, you agreed then in the lease that you would get a payment for 2 years. So the council knew it was ending after 2 years when they took those toilets on. Toilets are a discretionary function. So if you were to hand them back, Powers haven't got an obligation to run them anyway because it's not statutory. And seeing as now Powers have now given away all their toilets, I believe, so maybe one south of the county, there's no way that they would keep them. In the summer, you did a really big consultation about your strategic plan. People said they really liked the toilets, so they are very well valued by residents. But it was that's a cost implication that
But
you
where
do
does that
shop
put us?
residents
Where
with.
does that put us in comparison to the one or two, and there are only a couple of a few, right? Councils who still have county council running the toilets in their town. They refuse to take them over.
There's no. I'm pretty sure the last one was in Bilth, and I'm pretty sure now Bilth Town Council have taken over the running of that one. I'm pretty sure Powers has got no more public toilets that they run because they're not required to by law.
Can we get to that stage then?
You could decide to hand them back, but also you did just spend
It's just,
you did just spend a considerable sum.
it's a lot of money, isn't it, every year, year on year, simple as that.
It's about £13 of a bandy.
Can we move on a bit to Bill, please, and then I'll come to you, David.
I've had my hand up for quite a long time. Yeah, I wanted to raise, I'm probably shooting myself in the foot here as an allotment holder, but I wanted to raise the amount that we're paying for water supply on the hospital allotments. I mean, I'm aware that that some allotment holders do run sprays for quite long periods of time when there's no one on the allotments. But I'm aware also that we have had a leaking tap for part of the year as well, so that's going to have had an impact. But this is considerably more than you're receiving in the total of allotment payments, isn't it? So something needs to be sorted somewhere. And on my son's allotments, they have to pay for water separately from the allotment higher figure.
Yeah, so the first half of the year we paid £279.28, and then the second half was £394.96. So around the £600-ish mark. Our total rents received in the budget was £700 for allotments. I think we received more than that.
That's for both the allotments.
That's for both allotments. Yeah, unfortunately, the terms that we have entered into with allotment holders, which are protected leases under the Small Holding Allotments Act 1920, means that it's very difficult to change those terms now afterwards. However, we've said in those terms that the fee includes water. So we are responsible for shouldering the cost each year of water because it does go up each year. However, the rents necessarily don't go up. And actually, there's a 12-month period of time we have to give notice to increase those rents to those tenancies. We are working at the moment in actually clarifying what allotment holders we have, what terms and conditions they signed. Lots of stuff seems to be lost in the handover last year, last January, when old staff left, etc. So we're looking at that at the moment, and we're hopefully getting a new terms and conditions together for allotment holders. It may be that we decide not to include water in that and look to charge that elsewhere. But it's one of those things. It's a demand-driven thing, and if all the allotments were full, then it might subsidise it out. But we don't cover all our costs for allotments.
There is a large difference though between, I know the hospital site is a bigger site. There's a large difference between the two of
It's a
them.
bigger site, it's a full site, and some users use water to a much greater extent than anyone does
Yeah.
at the other sites. And that there is a large water tank there that is potentially filled with rainwater and certainly could be if it was piped up properly. So I think it's probably I would recommend that at some point there is simply a meeting with allotment holders and
Talk about how we can say that.
so talk about how we can do a better job of it.
Can I just say that I was coming back from West Wales after New Year and wanted to go to the ladies, and I thought, oh, there's toilets in Northumberland, and I was driving through Northumberland, parked the car, and the very fancy painted toilets were locked shut and were clearly not open, not just on that day, but not open full stop. I think it was a Friday or a Saturday. But I was furious.
They have just had a large grant actually to reopen the toilets. They should be
Because
now
it
reopened.
was, here it's quite a large town in the country, and there wasn't a toilet you could use unless you went into a shop to pay. I had to buy something in a cafe to be able to use facilities. But it is the impact and how important I think toilets are in access to public toilets is.
They're always open on a Wednesday. That's because
Market.
it's market day on Wednesday up there.
Okay, David, you have your hand up.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, whose idea was it to give a monopoly to companies like Severn Trent for something we all need to live? It wasn't mine. I am aware that we do in the Havant Dyfrdwy, arm of Severn Trent area, which does serve us, or monopolise, whichever way you want to look at it. We have had higher increases than a lot of other places in the UK in terms of our water bills. But yes, water bills across the board, haven't they, have shot up, ostensibly to pay for much needed repairs after decades of underinvestment or asset stripping, again, depending on which way you look at it. But I am aware as well that our MP from Montgomeryshire and Glyndŵr has today written to the Water Minister about this because, we're not alone in being upset about how much our water bill is by a long way. Obviously, it's all a little bit outside the remit of the town council, but I just thought I'd flag that it is an issue that is being paid attention to.
Okay, thank you, David. And I think that the town clerk has previously indicated that we would have thought that the water company would have recognised that we were using an awful lot more water than we normally do at the TIC and alerted us to it, but they didn't. So it was only when we discovered it that we could rectify it, and therefore we have to pay the charge.
We do now check all our meters more regularly, and we've also now prepared plans for each building about where the meters are, etc. So it's like a quick go-to guide of where the meters are. The meter for here is in Paul Street.
Can I just point out that the hospital allotment site, the water bill was £394.
Yeah.
And the hospital and the BLT allotment site was £29.
Yes.
We've just done that.
Yeah. Now, if that's the case, is it raining much more by Morag's house and down by the hospital?
We don't have that many allotment holders at the Burgess Land site. That's the only difference.
We were told it was full.
It's not. It's no issue.
The hospital site is full.
Burgess Land.
The last time we talked about it, in the last rain, if you like.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
Prior to your time,
Sure.
big discussion in this chamber, and we were told that there was firstly, we were told that there was a waiting list of this and the other.
No.
And 6 months later, we were told they were all full and there's still 3 people on the waiting list.
Yeah.
That's what we were told.
No, that was the hospital site.
No.
It was explained to us.
No, the
that
BLT site.
road site
Yeah.
wasn't full.
Well, we
And
might
there
as well
was some
do
issues
away with one of
why
them.
that was.
They don't need them.
Yeah.
Across all our allotment sites, as of today, I think we're about 77% full.
Oh.
Um,
I can see, put a new town council office on the one site, because nobody's gonna want them. All right,
Okay.
me being foolish.
And the only other one I bring to your attention is on the first page, and you'll see it says Hardings, and it says fuel, Meals on Wheels car. And now you may wonder, our Meals and Wheels car is electric, why would it be
Okay,
getting
so-
fuel? It's because our electric van is currently in the garage and we have a
Temporary route.
temporary car, so I have to fill it up with fuel and not electrons.
Can I have a proposal to recommend we pay the invoices? Thank you, Bill. Seconder for that. Thank you, Richard. All those in favour?
Hands up.
Heads up.
Anyone abstaining? Anyone against? Bill, are you,
Yeah, I voted with it.
you voted with it? Thank you. Um, 5.3 scrutiny of payments. It was myself actually that did the scrutiny at this time, so I looked at 3 different invoices. And everything was in order. I could follow them through from beginning to end. I also checked the payment schedule to ensure that everybody on it was working for us and actually being paid at the right level. So I was happy to confirm that that was accurate as well. And Richard was very kindly took me through how the people get paid. So I was very happy with that.
Sorry, are we rotating this? So I mean, I think, did I do the first one?
Yeah, so Bill Pritchard is doing December.
Yeah,
Estelle is doing January
Okay.
because it needs to be someone who's not a bank signatory.
yeah.
And then so someone is free to do February if someone wants to do February.
Yeah, and really
Okay.
good.
I think I started the whole thing up today, so if everyone's done one, then it's probably me, but I don't know if everyone has done one.
Don't know. So it was
I'm a band signatory.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do a normal one then.
Normally, every quarter we have to have a non-bank signature.
Okay, well, right, yeah, I could do it in, what month are you saying, March?
March.
Yeah, so it'll
So
be
that'll be
March
April.
or February.
March for February, yeah,
Yes.
okay. Just remind me and I'll arrange fix the time.
Do you want to do? April to
I'm
March?
the next one, yeah.
So Bill's happy to do.
Okay, April. March and April.
Yeah. Yeah, March and April.
March and April, yeah.
So if everybody's happy with that, Richard will do the scrutiny for February in March, and Bill will do the March scrutiny in April.
Can I just go back to that one? There's one on there, Owens coaches, who paid 2,000 odd quid to. What are you paying for coaches for?
It's the commission sales. It's the swap
Right,
out.
okay, yeah, thanks, yeah, no problem. I just thought you were all,
It's
from the
not
office,
valid.
you were all going out on a day out or something, you know?
No, definitely not.
No, don't tell him about the day out.
Okay. 5.4 is the business planning and financial matters. So 5.41 is the ISP action plan, which is appendix F, and it's a pretty coloured document. You want to take us through that, Richard?
Yeah, it does need a bit of updating.
I did think-
Yeah, so yours is
My comments are.
yours is particularly short, but so for example, FS3, which is the staffing review, should now be showing as complete. Because now the consultation was held and the structure went live on the 1st of January. FS4, develop a 3-year budget, well, that's on the agenda this evening, so that is in progress, not started. And CO4, which was publish a simple infographic of finances, projects and performance. Well, that now is in progress because we're doing that as part of the budget process. And probably EN1, we can change to in progress because we're now doing community workshops around the town to transformation. That was the only ones I've looked at before. Alison sent me some questions as well, so
I am attending the One Voice Wales place plan
Oh, good.
training course, which is on the 2nd of April.
yes.
No, 2nd of February, so that's.
Good.
Yes, I booked onto a later one of those as well, so.
Which will come in handy, as you know, we put money in the budget for next year to start the place plan process. And if you saw the news today, House are very kindly sharing 1.5 million between 22 towns with place plans, which we do qualify for our previous investment plan. So we'll be getting something from them about putting together a list of priorities. It's 100% capital funded, so we need to think about what's in the plan and what we would like to put forward as a project. I believe it was levelling up monies.
So I think that was recreation, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, item 6, budget 2026-27. We now have the final draft in front of us. And it's for us to consider the final draft budget for 26-27 and recommend for the next for the year. And this is appendix G, H and I. I knew I'd be looking at it, but they think. Councillor Rowley.
Before we actually discuss the figures, can I just commend the presentational changes in terms of how things are listed and set out. So to make it much easier to understand as we go along, and much easier to also monitor what's happening. And I'm like to commend our clerk and indeed you, Madam Chair, as well for what you work on.
It's not much to do with me.
Thank you. So as you know, for the last few months now, committees and yourselves have been looking at the budget for next year, which is coming rather soon. Only 2 and a bit months away. So we started off with a detailed line by line review of the budget that had previously been done. Staff as well had a chance to get into this for the first time, I think, in a long time. We met twice as a staff team to look at the budget line by line. Again, committees have also looked line by line at their budget. The budget before you this evening has around £86,000 worth of savings, either through service transfers or just efficiencies where we can find them, and increases of around 125,000 in expenditure. Roughly of that 125,000, 45,000 is on new projects, stuff that wasn't done in previous years or is in the strategic plan. 40,000 relates to things that were unbudgeted for, so things that were not included in the current year's budget, which should have been, such as contractual or lease requirements. We have removed around £26,000 from the admin budget. Again, this is all based on the feedback we received in the strategic plan consultation over the summer. People said get that admin budget down and put it more into frontline services. So 26,000 saved in that budget, which is fantastic. As you can also see as well, probably for the first time in a long time, now got a 3-year budget, which is at Appendix I, which is looking forward to the next 3 years. The assumptions around that is a 3% increase each year, and various different percentage increases in different lines. We don't know where things are going, as you saw today. I don't know if anyone's on the news today, but inflation for the last 12 months is at 3.4% at the moment. So we're roughly around right on the 3%. Some of the assumptions we had for this year's budget, we started off with 4% we started off with 5% for most things and came down gradually as things got clearer throughout the last 3 months. So we're looking at a 4% increase on pay pressures, etc. The big one will be utilities. As you all know, our contract for the town hall is ending in April. We are on a considerably good deal at the moment, and that is increasing by nearly double our unit price, which means that we need to be protected for those utility increases, even to the point where we start turning heating down 2 degrees to make sure we can maximise that as much as we can, but that'll be the next winter. But other than that, you have been through it line by line, so happy to go through it again line by line if you want to, or propose anything. The only change I would possibly get in there, so I had put into the budget some monies on Meals on Wheels, because we weren't sure about when the transfer was going to be happening. However, I'm much more assured now that the transfer will happen prior to the next financial year. So actually, those figures could come out or be reallocated elsewhere. In particular, the salary bit for that point, HMRC, repairs and maintenance, and the meal costs lines. You are required to keep the vehicles one in, because a part of the transfer is that we're going to be paying for that vehicle until September, until the lease expires. the first 6 months of the transfer over. So that needs to stay in there, other than that, so that money can be reallocated elsewhere if you wish to. In terms of, we'll get into the precept itself into full council, but it's around 80p-ish every £1,000 on a band D. So in the grand scheme of things, it might not save that much, 80p a year, but you might decide to put it in elsewhere. We are currently obtaining quotes for demolition of the bike shop at Martin Bailey. At the moment, there's nothing in the budget for that at all. We need to get an asbestos survey done first, because we're having difficulty obtaining quotes to demolish it because people won't quote for the work unless they know asbestos is in there. So we're working through that at the moment. Other than that, it's it's been a very robust budget process, and to make any changes where you think is appropriate.
I do have just one question, and I have raised it before.
Sure.
And it relates to, it's in the events budget,
Okay.
it's the TIC it affects,
Yeah.
which is the direct stock.
Yeah.
Which has been cut by half this year, but the actual income expected from it is not being cut.
No.
Certainly not in comparison with the,
It's only because if you look to see what we've spent so far, we spent 1,000 something. What was the so expensive?
yeah, so far it's
Yeah.
5,000.
Yeah, so only spending 5,000, then we're near the end of the year. We thought that that new figure we put in was an appropriate amount, because we've only spent that much, and also got in. I think we're about just under 10,000 on sale. So we're about 50%, which is what the assumption was for going forward with the.
And there's stock in hand anyway.
Yeah, we've got about £7,000 of stock in that anyway. But it was originally in the budget. I did cut it to 5, I think, and we've increased it back to £7,000 from that. But I'm happy to change it if you wish.
Well, let's see what it does this year. I was just concerned because in the strategy, one of the aims is to increase
Yes, yeah, usage of the TLC.
the profitability.
Yeah, no, sure.
TIC, and it is one way of doing it. But
Yeah.
I'm happy. I know you have increased it a bit.
Yeah.
And I'm quite happy to see what happens this year in Tenth. So
Is this something that CIC staff are happy with? or-
Yeah, yeah,
Yes, yeah.
Consider the boundaries being through the budget.
any other questions about the budget?
And the only other one I'll brought to your attention is Anne Holloway Centre,
Yeah.
1365, which is income other. It's currently showing as £1. It's basically I need to put something in there that we're going to get something in income. That is that as part of the release that we're having with the third party that's taken it over, there's a requirement that they contribute towards the insurance for that building in particular. So I need to put something in the budget to account for it. So I put £1 because it needs to, and then when we actually know what the figure will be, they'll pay that amount, and then that will go.
Yeah.
To offset the figure which is in 210 insurance.
How do people feel about taking out some of the money that was put in for the Anne Holloway Centre in case the lease didn't get transferred before the financial year? Do we want to keep it in as backstop, or are we able to take it out?
Yeah, no.
The measurement. Richard?
No.
Sorry, Bill, you.
My feeling is that we allow it to lie as it is at the moment, and it's still in the balance, even though we're more confident. So
That's fine.
yeah,
Yeah, but, if you wanted to change it, you could potentially, now knowing the news of what's happening in 2027, you could earmark those funds for a particular ring fenced Tour de France fund.
Yeah, should they not agree, that's a good suggestion, we might pitch that to council. Okay. Someone want to propose it under that, then we're going with it as it is. So Phil?
Yeah.
Bill proposes and Bill will second that. Everybody in favour?
Hands up.
Hands up.
Yeah, that's unanimous.
So that will now, in our meeting next week, we will now set our budget and precept, and the precept figures will become more known to you. We've already started to do some work on publicising the budget, making it easier for people to understand. We've done a residence guide to the budget for next year, a webpage and some graphs that show the breakdown of each area, in particular with what bandy costs are as well, which should help with our transparency as an organisation. Also started to put together some press things. We've been in discussions as well with local press about doing something more visual as well. Should be really positive.
Okay, moving on to strategy and policy.
Can I just
So
check,
within the
sorry.
budget.
can I just check, has that vote also forwarded the 3-year budget?
I'm sorry, yeah. Before you-
Oh no, so the vote itself was, if you look at the paper that I wrote, the vote or the motion was to review and comment on the draft budget, to note the draft budgets for 27-28 and 28-29.
Right.
To consider if any change should be made and if appropriate, recommend to full council to approve the draft budget. They're only to note the future years because of course something could happen that we don't know, but they're a guiding point of what we'll use when we come to the budget set for next year.
That's fine.
Richard,
Yeah, well, it was a comment on the 3-year budget really, and I presume this is still work in hand. It's rather difficult to read it when so many items appear as naught on the current year budget. And
Yeah,
I'm just wondering-
unfortunately, it's because of the changes to the cost centres. The old ones still show up because we're in the current year now. If I ran this report in the 1st of April next year, then they wouldn't show up because there's no budget for them. That makes sense. It's because we're looking at the report doesn't allow me to take away the current year's budget,
Right,
and otherwise the zeros wouldn't be there. And of course, when we do budget setting next year as well, we'll still have some hangovers because it takes a 2-year cycle to get rid of the old codes that you didn't use. That's just the finance system. I can't alter.
okay,
In terms of the 3-year budget, probably what you're looking at is the bold lines. So not line by line, but it's more about cost
Yeah.
centre and the overall figures going forward.
and it is because it's 3-year budget, it's an indicator, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
Because-
yes, I mean, I would,
Yeah.
I would expect it to be constantly being updated, obviously.
Okay.
Yeah.
So item appendix J is the draft complaints, comments and compliments policy. This came to you at the last meeting as the complaints policy, and both Richard and I, and it still is based on the One Voice Wales model policy. But with my particular experience with complaints and Richard's, we felt that we could improve it and make it more workable, I think was the word, isn't it? The main things that got added to it was extended to comments and compliments as well. Although it details the complaints policy in more fully, we had nothing to say what we would do with people who comment to us or actually give us compliments as well. So there is things about that. The big thing that we did include in it was an appeals process because the One Voice Wales model policy didn't include one. And the natural law of justice or usual government based bodies is that there is an appeals system that somebody, so it's not just one bite of the cherry, so that has been included. Anything you want to say about it, Richard?
No, just that it does say very bold in here that complaints regarding council should be referred to the Public Service Ombudsman for Wales because the council doesn't have any legal powers to investigate complaints against a member. This is in terms of complaints against either staff or service delivery, or that
Yeah.
particular
And it's
aspect.
very clear in it, the
Um,
definitions of what it.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Ledbury case means that we just don't have the powers to discipline our own member.
Councillor?
Yeah, in many cases, it's going to be apparent, it's going to be obvious. But how do we actually determine what is a complaint or indeed a compliment? It seems to me that you would just be logging almost every comment that is made, positive or negative. And I mean, is there a?
It has very much to be at the discretion of the person doing it. And
Yeah.
obviously, once this is approved, I'm sure the staff will get refresher training. They must I've had training in complaints anyway, in the policy.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand what you would recognise a complaint, I would hope, but I'm not sure about a compliment. I mean,
Well,
we don't get that many, so we're hard to distinguish them. But the ones we do get, we
Yeah.
definitely tell they are compliments. We do get some, and they're lovely, and at the moment they just go in staff files and things, but at the moment we don't log them anywhere, so this would actually just log them for us.
I think the recording of compliments is good for staff morale, because,
yeah,
you know, if people are very, 10 people will complain about something, whereas only one person might compliment on something. So, you know, to combat some of the negativity where we can, if we can capture complaints, compliments, and pass those on to the staff and report them back to council, then that's positive. And the whole thing with comments is from, because we're supposed to be a learning council as well. So comments, even though they're not a complaint or they're technically a compliment, we can use positively to improve our services in some cases. So if we capture them, because sometimes with comments, you know, one comment is just a comment. But
Yeah.
if over time, during the year, you have about 10 comments from people about this thing, then it's something that we can look at to think, okay, yeah, we've had a few about these now. Is there something we can do about that? So it is being a bit more forward thinking, really. Richard?
Yeah, under definitions, it says, oh, computer's just gone off, sorry. It says, a complaint is an expression of dissatisfaction, however made. I'm just wondering what we mean by however made. Surely to deal with a complaint properly, it's got to be written down somewhere.
It's,
You
it does
can't-
define how you can complain in the policy.
Well, okay, in that case, perhaps instead of saying however made, it ought to say an expression of dissatisfaction which is made according to the terms set out.
With
I-
practice in complaints is that people should be able to make a complaint in whichever way they want to. really.
So if somebody puts on Facebook that some service that they've done is rubbish,
That's a comment.
And section 7 says how to make a complaint. It says complaints may be made via email, post, telephone, in person, or via the website complaints form.
okay,
So I don't think we'd include social media comments as a complaint, but if it did come via that mechanism, I think what more I was trying to capture with this one is that people may say something to a member of the ops team, and that's not getting fed back at the moment because there's no mechanism to feed that complaint back. And actually, they should be logging it, not just saying, "Oh, you need to speak to the town clerk." For example,
I think-
they should be taking that on as a complaint.
I think there is a discrepancy between that definition and point 7 as to how to make a complaint.
I personally, having worked in it for a long time, I don't quite agree, but
I mean, in the private sector, mostly, if you want your complaint acknowledged and acted upon, you would put it in writing and you would head it in big bold letters, complaint. That way it gets to whoever is likely to be able to do something about it. I just think if we make this too broad, if you can complain pretty much in any way, and then we have to decide whether it's a complaint, whether we're required to respond or do anything to act on it. I don't know. I'm just wondering, could it all becomes a little nebulous. But I mean, I might be wrong. I don't know. It's just the way I.
if you look at the policy, it says how to make a complaint, so you can do it by email.
Yeah.
And we should and would accept a complaint by email. It has to say, I am unhappy with this according to the definition. If it's by post, that's a letter, which will say, I want to complain about something, or it doesn't good practice is that it doesn't have to say, I wish to complain. But if you read the letter and it's expressing a dissatisfaction with something and they want you to do something about it, then it's a complaint. Doesn't have to say it's a complaint. If someone wants to telephone, because some people don't like writing or use emails and want to use their phone, they can phone up and complain. They can give it to a member of staff. This is now good practice in many customer service environments.
And do our staff know how to record it
Well, they do. Once the policy's been approved, then staff will receive training in how to do that. I'm sure Richard will show them the system that will be in place to record these things.
I'm gonna do something.
Council, people can complain to a councillor. That's what we're there, when it's not what they're there for, but it is one of the roles that we unfortunately have to take on. Even if it's not us as the council doing it, we get complaints and we pass them on. And we have a complaints form on the website. I think restricting it is the dangerous bit, because it forces people down a certain path. I know certainly the One Voice Wales was very much, someone's a complaint, you give them a form. Well, that's not, in this day and age, that's not good practice. It is if that's what they want, but people do want, it's within customer service. When people talk about satisfaction with services, it's about the ease of access and the ease of access with the complaint service. So if it does go wrong, they want it as easily as possible to be able to complain about it or voice their dissatisfaction.
I know Bill's got his hand up, but just to respond to that, the problem is if we need to act on these complaints and a situation arises where we haven't done, simply because we've spread the net too wide, we're then going to be criticised for having not dealt properly with the complaint. Whereas if we had a more formal way of complaining, we're less likely to, it's not going to slip between the cracks because they told one of our staff last Thursday about something and didn't get back to us. I
would translate that as if we make it more difficult for people to complain, sorry, Bill, then we'll get less complaints.
Okay.
And that is how I would interpret it. Sorry, Bill, you've been waiting.
No, I'm thinking along many of the same lines. I do think that the word formal has to come in somewhere. There is a distinction between a moan and a complaint. People moan about things and are maybe unhappy about things. There is then a step where you turn that into a complaint if that's what you want to happen. And I think that there has to be something in the process that requires that to happen.
Yeah, it becomes then a formal complaint.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just something somebody has said.
Sorry, Phil,
I move the proposition.
say again,
I move the proposition.
you moved the,
I move that as a policy.
okay.
But I believe firmly that those sort of things, okay, you can say this, that or the other, but we'll tweak a bit of it next year if something comes up. And we'll tweak a bit of it the following year if someone else comes up. And that's how life goes on with these policies.
I'd be happy to second that as long as we are agreeing to continue to look at it and to make sure that if it's not working as it should, we tweak it.
You agree? So Richard,
Just perhaps to see if there's a compromise between your view and my view, whether if we were to delete the words however made from definitions. Because then I think it would more logically follow further on when we talk about how to complain.
I can live with that.
Well, Richard proposed an amendment, he needs a seconder to do that.
So that's the policy as it is with the however made taken out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, if
and-
you do the amendment first and then adopt it after the amendment is.
And also Phil's suggestion that it be kept under review. I know it would be kept under review
Yeah.
anyway, but
Let's do it right. If we go in with Richards, you need a seconder for that, and I'll withdraw mine. No problem.
Okay. So if the proposal is to recommend the,
Well, you
So
should take
delete those
Richard's
two
amendment to delete the word first.
Yeah.
And then if it passes, then we'll look at
then
adoption.
we'll look at the, okay, so Richard has made an amendment to delete the words however made from the policy in the
Yeah.
definition, and is there a seconder for that? We've got a second, I'm sorry, Phil's second that, so all in favour of that amendment?
Hands up.
Thank you,
Yeah, I think that was carried.
that was carried. So did we go for the proposer to accept the,
Yeah, so the policy is now amended, so it's up to you if you want to, I'd recommend to adopt to full council.
so Phil has already
No,
recommended that?
my policy's gone out my vote's gone out the window now because that's passed.
Yeah, it's only with, so it's only that, so without those words in it, are we approving the policy? That's
No, I'll abstain on that one.
you'll abstain.
Proposally adopted as amended.
Okay,
I can't propose one thing and then vote for the other thing in the
I'm
same
sorry to
vote.
say, I think if what Richard was proposing was an amendment to the original, then we have actually passed it with those words deleted, as I understand it.
No, so
well, as a committee, we've decided on the.
If
no,
it-
what you've done is
if-
you've
if-
amended the policy.
If what Richard was doing was proposing a second, a separate thing, which was about removing those two words, then that's a different matter, but
That's what he was doing. He removed the words.
Whatever, I don't.
I thought Richard was saying, let's vote on the policy with those words removed, but anyway, okay, fair enough.
I don't care, whatever.
Well, we have, and now
Yes,
that's
the
the
policy.
policy. All we have to do now is
It's approved.
approve it and recommend that be,
Yes,
well,
I think we need to do that.
it still
Okay.
has to go, we
It's not how
still
I
have to
would-
make the recommendation.
how I would
to
run a
full
meeting.
council.
Okay, so I'm looking for I can propose it, can't I? So I shall propose the policy with the wording removed as per the amendment. Is there a seconder? Thank you, Richard. All those in favour?
Hands up.
Any abstentions? So Bill and Phil are abstaining.
That process,
That's the way the standing orders are set out. It's amendment and then substantive.
I think an amendment is, well, anyway, an amendment is an amended motion rather than changed, but anyway, that's by the by, we can talk about that tomorrow.
And we will monitor what is happening as a result of it, so
Yeah.
as we go through, because part of it includes the reporting process. Okay, item 7.2, gritting and snow removal policy. Richard, do you want to?
Yeah, so when we got back after the Christmas period, we realised that actually before the snow came, we thought actually we need to put together a policy around how frequently we grit, where we grit, etc., under our duties under the Enterprise Liability Act, Health and Safety, etc. So, and then the snow came, and actually, when the snow was falling, I was writing this policy, so it was very timely. Snow was falling outside. So yes, this policy just sets out when we will grit, when we will remove snow from our areas of our control, to make sure that we're covered under our insurance and the rules. Just formalises what we originally had. It was the opt-in that asked for the policy in the first place, which.
Yeah, Phil,
I move to.
Second.
thank you, Bill. Oh, so we've had a proposer and a seconder. Anybody else? So all those in favour?
Hands up.
Hands up.
Thank you, that's unanimous. Addendum. Okay, 7.3. To consider Approval of updated financial regulations. 2005-36 ones.
Yeah, so the current year,
And that is appendix L.
yeah, there's a report and then there's the finalised version. This came about because our financial regs say that when there's a change in RFO, we're supposed to review them, which so I did. It also came about with the fact that I was, after the staff consultation, I had to email our payroll provider to change everyone's salaries. And I thought to myself, oh, this is a bit of an audit issue, because I can just unilaterally change them to whatever without any approval. So I've introduced some changes to the financial regs that hopefully in strengthen us for audit purposes. So it introduces the concept of purchasing officer. It looks at formalising what we do each month with the 3 transactions and checking. That's 2.7, that changes. It also changes, there's a few technical wording about the budget. 4.2 changes the word October to December, just gives more time for the employee contributions section. There's a change in 4.9, which just says, because the end of February, no billing authorities ever asked the end of February, so it's the end of January, so just changes to the date specified by the billing authority. There's no changes to the contract thresholds. It's still as council set them back when you did back in May. That 1,000, under 1,000 for the clerk, 1,000 to 2,000 for the clerk, consultation with the chair. Anything above 2,000 then is for council or a duly delegated committee at up to 5,000. And the change in terms of that pay one is 11.9. So before any changes to pay are made, a certificate has to be signed off by the chair of the Finance and Governance Committee, just to check that the council did approve those changes, which our payroll provider has accepted. So Morag has very kindly as well signed a certificate, which also went. It's just making sure that when we do get audited this year, because we are in a full audit year this year, that we have robust financial regulations based on our experiences to date. Well, that's pretty much all the changes there is.
I had one question. I'm quite happy with the change of the terminology to purchasing officer. But my question was, can we maintain a schedule of
Yes.
who are purchasing officers?
Yes, this was the reason by putting it in, because at the moment there's staff who are empowered to sign purchase orders, but it's not written down anywhere. So as you say, it means that officer authorised by the town clerk, I will add in a list of staff who I have authorised to do that. It's about, there's no impropriety at all, it's about making sure the paperwork is correct.
Yeah, and can that be reviewed?
Yes, of course.
To make sure that there are people not on the list who should not be on the list any longer, just out of. Anybody else got any questions about the revision of standing orders?
I was very happy with these changes, so I'm quite happy to propose that we accept them.
Thank you, Bill. Are you seconding it, Phil?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. All those in favour?
Hands up.
Whoa.
Very good. I get in time and the song.
It was.
Cool.
Okay, item 8 is other matters, so I'll hand over to you. First one, petty cash and prepaid cards.
Thank you. So as you all know, that there is cash is great, but it does pose a risk to the council of loss, theft or error. Other councils have gone this way, withdrawing their petty cash or phasing out. I'm not proposing it that we get rid of it completely, but hold a smaller amount just for emergencies where absolutely necessary, but instead introduce prepaid debit cards for authorised purchasing officers to be used for what they'd be using petty cash for. Basically, all the transactions are electronic, they can be reconciled in exactly the same way. They would be part of the same bank record that you would see each month. But again, it just gets rid of the staff time spent administrating the cash elements at the moment. And of course, it is a risk that it just wants to. We've got pretty good procedures in place to make sure it doesn't. It is checked each month, but there's still that risk element around cash. Where we can phase out, I think it would be wise to do so. Having a look at what the market is like at the moment, Lloyd's, who we bank with, do something called a charge card, which apparently is good for audit purposes because you get to set a limit spend on it, which means that for audit purposes, officers can't go over that limit. Actually, that would make sense that I have a card which has my limit on it to make sure I can't go over my limit. And then the purchase officers would fall in like that as well. And at the moment, those cards are, it's £32 a card per year, but if you spend more than a certain amount, it's free across all the cards. And I think we've hit the threshold of spending. So I think there probably might not even be a cost to the council for this implementation, which would be beneficial.
Okay, anybody got any questions on that? I know I'm perfectly happy with it. Anybody want to propose it? Thank you, Phil. Seconder, Phil, thank you. So all those in favour?
Hands up.
Unanimous. So 8.2, section 137, the expenditure limit, this is to note, which is appendix O.
Yeah, just to tell you, it's going up from £11.10 to £11.60 per elector. And at the last count, we're on 4,980 something electors. So just times that by £11.60, and that's our spend per year. However, we know we don't get anywhere near close to the section 137 limit. The only thing we do need to note now, though, is that when we're spending on community fridge, we do need to use 137 because there are no other powers to do so, and possibly maybe even the hub as well. There needs to be some sort of review done on which particular systems we're using for 137. Meals on Wheels we were fine with. We could use the Power of Wellbeing, which was previous to the general power of competence for that one. Now that's going anyway. It's not a headache, but we do need to work out what the 137 limits are. Usually 137 for councils means grant giving. In our case, we don't have a grants policy and don't give grants, so we haven't got that spend. But on those services that we haven't got a statutory power defined for, we'll have to rely on 137 to use that. And of course, they will account towards the cap. The only other thing we spend 137 on is the book sale that we do annually. So giving the donations to the people, we rely on section 137 to do that power, and that's what we write on the if you look at the annual return on the second page, it says how much you spent on section 137. Right now. So that just needs, it's just for you to note that that's the cap.
I'll move the paper, Phil.
You don't even have to
I
vote.
think it's to note, so
Just go.
Sorry?
it's to note,
All right.
the increase in the limit.
Okay.
Okay, 8.3, digital engagement, again, this is a report to note, which is appendix P.
Yeah, so this is your third version of this report. As you can see that during this period, we had a lot more total views on social media, but we did see some drops in new followers and page visits. Top posts by this quarter was the bit about free parking, which saw 15,000 views, hiring new staff, which saw 12,000, and Santa visiting children, which saw 4,360. In terms of the website, it's pretty stable, or it grew compared to the previous periods. 6,600 active users in the period with 21,000 page views. So still well used by members of the public and others.
Okay, anybody got any questions on that?
I don't have any comments. It looks it looks a very healthy endeavour. I think you would expect some sort of levelling off of new users. So
But it shows that the ones that are now using it are using it.
Yeah, however, in the quarter four, I'm expecting to see a big increase because now we've got dedicated resource around communication. So using that a lot more. So I would expect to see some sort of increase.
Do we have any other social media accounts other than Facebook?
Yeah, we have an Instagram account, which we're resurrecting, because we've noticed that actually Facebook, the target audience age for Facebook probably isn't as young as we like
No,
it
it
to be. It is more middle-aged up now.
Yeah.
Instagram is now the younger one. The only other one to do would be TikTok, but it's a lot of work to maintain it. But that is where you need to hit the younger audience.
I'm glad that you didn't say Twitter.
No, it's not, I'm not the decision maker in the council, but I'm not going to out of my way to create an X account based on
Okay.
what's happening in the world.
So I got Dave waiting first.
Unless you tell me to, I will
not
do,
going
but
to do that.
that's fine.
Okay, David.
No, I will vociferously oppose any attempt for us to jump on Elon Musk's platform. So don't worry, Richard, it's not just you. Yes, I just feel like we should note that the engagement we get on the town council page is maybe a lot lower proportionate to the number of viewers than one might think. I didn't know we got this many views based on how much engagement we get. So it is welcome to see that people are looking at the town council posts and keeping informed, even if they're not necessarily, liking and sharing, etc., etc.
Thank you, David. And Phil?
Yeah, just to say that most government departments and institutions won't touch TikTok with a 10-foot pole because of the security risk, and I don't think we should either.
I think if you see what they look like when they do use it, it's quite.
I hear that Keir Starmer's very popular.
My
I would-
brother was demonstrating his AI app when we were playing dominoes last night, and I must admit I was blown away in a scared way. As in, you cannot believe anything you see any longer.
No.
It was jaw dropping.
I would like to say I totally agree with what's being said about TikTok. Stay
Yeah.
well away.
We don't have any plans. Unless you'd all like to do some dancing.
No, thank you. Okay, so date of the next meeting, to note that the next meeting will be held on the 18th of February at 6:30 PM. Would someone like to propose that we move into private session? Thank you, Bill. Second for that. Thank you.